As we've sort of indicated here on this slide, please make sure as you're joining that you are on mute to keep us from having to stop for any background noises. We're all working from home for the most part. And I'm just waiting for a few other folks to trickle in, and then we're going to dive into it. I can start by giving a bit of an overview here of what we're going to be talking about today. So if we can move to the next slide, I can sort of go over what today's webinar is going to be about. So this is Sam Margolis. I'm the Director of Cloud Adoption at SADA. You're also going to hear today from Ryan and Dima from Reblaze. And we're going to talk basically today about securing web assets and a lot of what we're seeing during this COVID-19 crisis. And some of the ways that both SADA, GCP, and Reblaze are helping to solve some of the issues that our customers are experiencing. So without further ado, let's take a look at today's agenda. I'm going to continue giving this welcome, as well as a little bit about some of the challenges that we're seeing at SADA, as well as who SADA is. I'm then going to hand it over to Ryan to talk a little bit about securing web assets and a little bit of an overview of what Reblaze has to offer. Dima then will talk a bit about how all of this works in the world of Google Cloud Platform, and he will share with us a demo of all of this working in the real world. And then we'll get to some questions, and I encourage everyone to take a look at the banner that is up at the top of the presentation here. Please jump in there, ask any questions you may have, and we will make sure that we get to those either at the end of today's session or we'll follow up offline. So with that said, we can jump into a little bit about what's and who SADA is. So SADA is the two-time consecutive winner of Google's Global Reseller Partner of the Year. And we've earned that basically by working with clients to help them make the best use of Google Cloud Platform and the ecosystem of products and technologies that surround it. So we're really proud of the fact that we've been a consistent top performer, which means we're delivering best of breed solutions to our customers and ensuring a high level of technical competency and technical success with our clients. And we've done this across the various Google product areas, both Google Cloud Platform, Google G Suite, Maps, and Cloud Search. And basically the role that we play is to help our customers best assess and best make use of what GCP has to offer. If we can jump to the next slide, basically the role that we play is that we help our customers both migrate to the cloud as well as take advantage of what that cloud has to offer. And this is a little bit of just sort of the numbers that we've done over the years. We basically have 25 million total users that we've migrated to the cloud. Over 3,000 clients that we've helped move over, and over 3,300 GCP projects we've completed in helping our customers actually both move to Google Cloud Platform as well as enhance the footprint of what they have to have, again, that ultimate or best experience they can have on the platform. I'll dive a little bit more into the services that we offer as well. And keep in mind, this is not meant to be an exhaustive list. This is sort of a high level. And again, please don't hesitate to ask any questions you may have at that slide link. But at a base level, right, as a reseller, we of course provide access to subscriptions with Google Cloud Platform, G Suite, Maps, Search, and everything else that we mentioned. And this means that we can help with contracting, license management. Of course, we can help ensure that renewals are handled so no beat is missed. But more specifically, we also are able to work in a few different ways. And so readiness and planning is oftentimes the first way we engage with our customers. And this could be either a readiness and planning assessment for a move to the cloud in general, or it could be for some type of augment or improvement that a customer is looking to make within the cloud as well. And so we can help obviously with the technical components, ensuring that our clients are best set up for success. We can also help with ensuring the business needs are met. And a lot of that has to do with ensuring that costs are controlled and reported appropriately, and that we have a clean, concise, and efficient path for migration. Which leads me to the migration services that we offer as well. We've sort of made a name for ourselves as helping customers migrate to the cloud. And that's still a very strong core competency at SADA. And migration takes a lot of different forms for our customers. It could be something as simple as a lift and shift, where we take an existing workload as it is, either in an existing cloud provider or on premises in a colo, what have you, and move that as is into GCP. But we also help our customers transform the way they make use of their computing infrastructure, whether that means looking at new environments or new infrastructure, or actually factoring the application itself, taking advantage of things like microservices, and a lot of what Google Cloud Platform has to offer. And I think what's really nice and unique about SADA, and we hear consistently from our customers as a good benefit to them, is the fact that we don't simply stop offering services where Google Cloud Platform ends. And so we have engineers with tremendous experience when it comes to DevOps and CI/CD, who are able to help not just with Google Cloud itself, but also with the surrounding ecosystem of tools and technologies that get leveraged. And of course, and I personally feel that this is one of the most important functions that we serve. We provide support and managed services to our customers. So we don't just help our customers get onto the platform and walk away. We have a philosophy at SADA of customers for life. And our objective is to ensure that our customers always feel well supported throughout their entire experience with Google Cloud Platform. Now, to sort of emphasize that point, right? We don't just focus on the core products of Google Cloud Platform. We focus on the entire ecosystem. And so SADA is constantly looking to partner with firms and organizations and technologists who can positively augment the experience that our customers have on the platform. And so given all that's been going on in the world right now with COVID-19, we're seeing a sort of new emergence of a lot of ugly threats that are happening to a lot of our customers. And luckily, we identified that Reblaze was going to be a useful and helpful partner to our customers years ago. And so we started our journey with Reblaze quite some time ago, and we've recommended and worked with them at a lot of our customer accounts who have used them to much success. But that said, we're seeing sort of a new, much more sophisticated attack vector across a lot of our customers. And this is an area where I believe that Reblaze is really unique in their ability to sort of triage and help protect our customers from this emerging threat. And so without further ado, I'll turn it over to Ryan, I think, who will talk a little bit about why it is that we see so much value in their product. So Ryan, all yours.
Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. We'll be discussing, again, a little brief intro into Reblaze, as well as some of the different effects that we've seen with the COVID-19, with the pandemic, and kind of these different threat vectors that we're seeing being highlighted through that time. We will highlight, Reblaze is a cloud-based web application API platform. It consists of a couple of different products, as well as full visibility and logs that we'll get into with Dima in the demo in a little bit. So we can go to the next slide. So here we see different bad bots are a growing concern that we see in the landscape nowadays. As we've seen over the years, the traffic is growing. This graph shows, almost 2/3 of web traffic was from malicious bots. More than half of that traffic was malicious. So we've seen the volume of bot attacks have also increased significantly. And this is due to a couple of things. The first one is, the volume of automation tools that are easily available are very simple to use. And now with the pandemic and everyone kind of moving more to a remote, working remotely from home, we're seeing this actually grow. And this presents kind of the ideal situation for hackers to ramp up the malicious bot activity, targeting these previously unused endpoints. Another growing concern is the level of the sophistication of these attacks. They're becoming increasingly customized, whether they're mimicking various human behaviors on the web application, such as keystrokes and mouse clicks. And some are even using machine learning to continually improve and adapt the sophistication of each of these attacks. We can go to the next one. Oh, back, I think, yeah, there we go. So there are a variety of different ways attackers can affect different types of businesses. You'll see some of the more prevalent ones highlighted here. But, these are just a few of the different consequences of these malicious attacks. from crashing your website with a DDoS attack. You can also breach the site in order to find vulnerabilities. But there are less obvious ones that we'd like to kind of highlight again today. And they're becoming a lot more prevalent nowadays. And they have very significant financial ramifications. One type of this attack that we often see in the e-commerce industry is price scraping. The goal of the attack is to scrape prices and other private data from the companies and their websites. A lot of times it's either a competitor or different types of industries trying to gain a competitive edge. And another type of attack, which we'll highlight again on the next slide, is inventory hoarding. This is where malicious bots will continually add a product to their shopping cart with no real intention of ever buying that product. The only real goal that they're trying to accomplish is to get legitimate customers to not be able to buy that product. So this type of inventory attack is what brings us to our first case study. If we can go to the next slide, and that is, this was an actual airline of ours that we were protecting. What was happening? There was two cases that we were seeing. The first one was malicious bots were actually entering the website and they were pretending to book seats, but they weren't actually going through and purchasing those seats. What was happening there is the users or customers that were actually looking for legitimate seats looked like the plane was full. So that was the first case. And the second case was this airline. Every single time someone went to check something out, the airline had to pay a third-party website a fee for that. So it was actually cost them over $600K annually in fees that weren't actually leading to any sales. And again, we were, after we were able to be implemented and understand this was one of their competitors, we understood that, and it was they were just trying to price scrape the ticket prices and things of that nature. But as soon as Reblaze was instituted, without any real customization, without any creating any rules or anything of that nature, we were able to stop these attacks just by understanding that the traffic that was coming through was bots and not humans. So that was really the easiest way that we were able to understand that. If we can go to the next case study, this is another company. Now I'm sure everyone's familiar with eBay. And they had a couple of different things. A year ago, they decided to move to the cloud. So they were debating. They obviously chose GCP, and with over 1.1 billion live listings at any given time, they're a huge target for all different types of attacks. So they just wanted to ensure that when they moved, that they could effectively secure this environment. So they began testing a combination of GCP's current product, Cloud Armor, as well as Reblaze for DDoS protection. It was a multi-layered solution. And it was exactly what they were looking for, as Google's Cloud Armor was able to block the layer 3 and layer 4 attacks, and Reblaze was able to defeat the layer 7 attacks. They were also, and Dima will highlight this in the next couple of slides, but they were also able to gain a much needed visibility into what their GCP environment was taking hold of. So throughout the Reblaze dashboard, you can go to the next slide. So this is kind of about Reblaze, founded in 2012 with over 300 customers globally. But I like to highlight on the far right the 5 billion HTTP and HTTPS requests daily. As we mentioned, we are a security platform. So it is not just WAF, it is not just bot management, it's not just DDoS. It is all together. And with that, it's able to get a very customized solution, single tenant solution that we can really customize to the different security vectors that you feel you may be attacked by. Next slide. And this is exactly what it actually comes with. So we have multi-layer DDoS protection. We have behavior bot analysis and next-gen WAF. Those are the three we like to call products that we offer. And then on the right, you'll see real-time visibility. So this is we're actually able to see the real-time logs. You're able to click in, see all the traffic headers, footers, things of that nature. And it's really also a very good tool to kind of understand your traffic granularly. And then you're able to create a different type of security profile based on the different applications that you have, different APIs that you have, and you're able to customize it that way. You'll see, we have a fully 24/7 SOX team, and we have an onboarding team where we will sit down and customize it with you, whether it be through industry, whether it be through vertical, very different natures of that way. Next slide. And then the way it's actually implemented, we are 100% cloud native. So we are on all all of the major clouds, AWS, Azure, GCP. We just signed a new license with DigitalOcean. But the nice thing is too, it can also be on-prem or in a hybrid environment. So for different industries, whether it be, maybe finance, e-com, some of these other ones, they may have 80% of their on the cloud, but they may 20% that's on-prem. So with this hybrid environment, we are able to work through with them. And as they do move things on, so migration is made much easier because you only need to deploy once. So as you deploy it on your on-prem, as you move it to the cloud, you don't have to redeploy. So it's very unique in that sense. I will say for AWS, Azure, and GCP, we are available on their marketplace as well. So there are two different types of setup. There's the SaaS-based model as well as the marketplace model. And we'll kind of get a little bit more into, in the next couple slides, how we integrate with the GCP model. And as I mentioned, with their Cloud Armor product, which is extremely beneficial. So here's just some of the different verticals we like to highlight. Obviously, e-commerce. We like to highlight government and different corporations, obviously, because they need to be, there are quite a few compliance issues, compliance concerns with that. So we've worked through all of those. We have all the different compliance certifications and whatnot that's needed. And then finance as well, especially with the hybrid model that we mentioned, where you can be on-prem as well as in the cloud and multi-cloud. It's very beneficial for them. I also like to highlight in the far right, I always like to highlight the gaming, and I only highlight that because this is done 100% through their mobile applications. So people are inputting their social security numbers, their credit card numbers, their date of birth, their address, all these things. And we're able to secure them as they're putting that through there. And obviously they vetted a couple different vendors, and we were able to secure the contracts with these companies, which we're very proud of. Next slide. And a little bit into the setup. So I'm going to highlight more on the right, and then we'll bring it to Dima, and he'll get a little bit more on how we actually set up the Reblaze console. But it is a single tenant environment. So each and every customer gets maximum privacy. It's not multi-tenant. They get their own virtual private cloud. No multi-tenancy concerns, and custom security profiles are made based on what vertical you're in and what type of traffic that you're seeing. It is also, as I mentioned, multi-region, multi-cloud, and a hybrid cloud model, as it runs natively on the customer's preferred clouds, and it's be able to process the traffic exclusively within them. As I mentioned, there is that marketplace model where your traffic actually never leaves the environment you've already currently set up, and that's something that's unique to Reblaze. There's also active profiling and protection, so we can create different profiles for different web applications you may have, different websites, different APIs. And we also are able to push different machine learning and automatic updates to your environment, within the next 24 hours and almost immediately. So these are some things for zero-day events or effects, things of that nature. We're able to push at that very quickly. And then Dima will get into a little bit the absolute visibility that we're able to be able to see the dashboard, view the different logs, and things of that nature. So with that, I will kick it to Dima.
Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well and safe. I'm going to be sharing my screen in a second to show you the overview of our console and all the visibility and how you can review the traffic patterns and etc. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Ryan or somebody from our side, if you can, please tell me. Oh, okay. Yeah, before excuse me, before I'm going to share my screen, I would like to go over how we integrate with GCP or any other cloud providers. As Ryan mentioned, we actually deploy our solution in a single tenant environment. And what it means that we're going to deploy custom VPC for our customers. Every customer is going to have their own VPC. So no single customer is going to share any type of hardware instances or anything that is with another customer on the platform. In addition, we have integration. When we talk about GCP, we integrate with their Cloud Armor to protect on layer 3 and layer 4 for any type of DDoS attacks or malicious traffic. We can integrate with any type of CDNs. By default, we're going to work with any CDN that the customer has, but we also have the option to provide CDN services with one of our partners. We use a lot of different instances and a lot of services from GCP, like buckets, BigQuery, machine learning, cloud data log, as you can see, the compute engine, the VPCs, of course, and different type of load balancing to support the needs. Also scalability, so we can scale for any purpose. We can scale up and scale down. For example, in case of an attack, we can scale it to make sure we can observe the attack. And also we can scale in case there is an increase in traffic that is a legit traffic. So there are a lot of benefits of having single tenant environment. Now, as Ryan mentioned, we are also part of the marketplace. What it means, with the marketplace deployment, you will have the ability to deploy our solution inside your VPC. So it means the traffic never gonna leave your VPC and gonna stay inside your VPC. Or the other option is the SaaS model, where we're gonna deploy everything for you on our side and manage everything for you as well. Next slide. So the biometric behavior analysis, this is how we can actually detect if it's a human interacting with a web application. And the web application can be a website, can be API call, can be a mobile app as well, because we have mobile SDKs that can be integrated. Now, we inject the JavaScript, and there are two ways on how the JavaScript can be injected, the active mode or the passive mode. The active mode is just we're gonna send the JavaScript and gonna validate if the user is human. And how we validate, as you can see, there is mouse clicks, screen taps for mobile devices, zoom, scroll, keyword typing, and etc. There are several different ways on how we can verify if it's a human or not. And it helps us to reduce the false positive. Some of the companies on the market are gonna verify if it's a bot or not, but we took a different approach and trying to understand if it's human. So as I mentioned, it helps us to reduce the actual false positive. Next slide. As Brian was talking before about the functionality, I would like to go over this diagram. As you can see, the end user is going to be the top one, regardless of what type of device they use, desktop, mobile, laptop, and etc. Then in most of the cases, there's going to be CDN in play. CDN is not a must, but majority of the companies currently use a CDN for different purposes. Then it's going to be the cloud armor from GCP that we integrate as well. And then it's going to be load balancer that we use for our architecture. In addition, all the requests going to be going to the BigQuery, where we're going to validate the traffic, see if there's any new type of malicious attacks, malicious traffic. And if we detected a new type of attack on one of the customers, you actually benefit from the fact that we are using this, the machine learning, and we can implement new policies and new signatures to your account as well. So you're going to be protected by that by default, even if you were not experienced that attack. Next slide, please. So yes, that's what we talk as well. This is a different layers on how we integrate and how we verify if it's a legit traffic or not. Different layers of protection. Of course, we have the armor, we have our servers. So everything is going to be protected on our side before it reaches your servers for bots or any type of illegit traffic. Next one, please. Okay. Now we're going to go to the demo. So I'm going to be sharing my screen right now. I think, Samantha, you will maybe need to stop presenting. Yes, thank you. Ryan, can you tell me when you can see my screen?
Yep, you're good.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so this is the demo account, and all the traffic you're gonna see here, majority of the traffic is just bogus traffic we sent to show the graphs and how it will look in real life. By default, in the dashboard, when you log in, you will see the last 30 minutes of your traffic pattern, and it's in GMT time zone. You can go as long as 90 days back. You can set any custom times or select in the calendar as well. So as you can see here, everything looks normal, kind of like you had some blocks. And when you point with your mouse to a specific section, it's going to show you the breakdown. When it's in the last 30 minutes window, it's going to show a breakdown per minute. Now, we can see here that something happened during this time frame. What we can do, we can highlight this section to understand from the generic overview what happened. So we can see that approximately from 4:46 until 49, there were several different attacks or possibly attacks. So what we can do, we can highlight it again and see what happened in this time frame. When you highlight it to this type of window, you can see every 2 seconds. It's going to show you every second, but the intervals here every 2 seconds. You can also remove some of the requests to see exactly how many requests, to see the graph for individual, if it was challenges or blocks. You can see also the response statuses over here with different colors. It's going to show you some details about how many requests you had, what was the bandwidth, and what was the latency. Now, as far as the latency goes, I know it's usually a concern for customers in general when they add a new solution, especially when it comes to security, like how much latency is going to introduce. From the 8 years we've been on the market, we have seen that our latency doesn't go on average above half of a millisecond to do all the testing that has to do with the challenges, as I mentioned before, with the JavaScript and with the WAF that is using different custom signatures like SQL attempts, XSS, and etc. On the bottom of the page, it will show you the summary for this time frame. You can see the application. As I said, it's a demo account, and you can see example.com we use for the traffic. You can see what countries it came from, what were the sources, sessions. As we can see here, majority of the traffic came from the United States. So out of 691 hits, 83 passed, but 596 were blocked. And we can drill down later on to see why it was blocked. You can look at specific target signatures. So it's going to give you an overview to what happened and easier to understand before you're going to go drill down, or even us, when you go with the managed solutions that we offer, we can do it for you. And of course, notify on what we have noticed and what's the best way to approach that. Before the webinar started, I created I sent few requests to this demo, and I want to show you how the view log looks. So the view logs is going to be also color coded. Whenever it's a white color like that with a white background, it means it was a normal request, it passed. Whenever it's a yellow one, it means it was challenged, but it doesn't mean it was actually blocked. So in this case, as you can see, this specific user requested this URL. When you click on the URL, you can see the actual request. They requested the root. This was the user agent. You can see some details, and we can see that we challenged the request. If it passed or not, we don't know yet. When you click on the magnifying glass, you will be able to see all the details about the request as well. And more details is going to show you the HTTP headers. If there are specific query parameters, you can see there as well. Everything here that you see is clickable. It means it's easy to create additional filters. For example, you would like to see it based on the user agent and not based on IP address. So you can double click on that. And when you double click, it just shows you over here all the information. And you can also remove, do regex if you would like. There's so much customization. As the actual dashboard shows you the last 30 minutes, over here is going to be the last 30 minutes as well. And just by clicking on the calendar, you will be able to pick any time frame you want up to 90 days. We follow the GDPR compliance regulations, so we have to keep the logs up to 90 days. So here, as you can see, and as I mentioned before, the JavaScript, the user has requested the content, we injected the JavaScript, and the user was able to execute the JavaScript that we send them. And when you can take a look here that says H, it means it's human. So since the user was able to execute the JavaScript, we're going to mark it as human. The response code was 200, it was HTTP 1.1, and all the details, same idea here. And as you can see, it shows human. Now, if the request will be blocked, you're not going to be seeing the origin and how long it took. It's going to be also only blocked on our side because it never reached the origin. There are different color schemes that we use to identify the request. So let's click on view log and not filter anything. We can do, for example, is blocked to see what requests were actually blocked. Now, it all depends on the settings that you have for your WAF. Our WAF has two modes, report and active, and it's very easy to flip the switch from report to active. So we can see here, for example, this one was blocked because it's with a red background. When we click on that, we can see what was the response code, what was the requested, and we can click on the magnifying glass to get more details. As you can see here, it was stopped on our side. Why? It triggered the autoban. Autoban is a custom rule that we have set with rate limiting. So, for example, if we set a rule that's going to say don't allow more than 10 requests per minute for the login page, then ban that IP address. And you can set it as a custom setting, as a custom name as well. So all those requests, as you can see, were blocked. When I was talking about how easy it is to go from report to active, as you can see, this for example, application is set to report. We'll click on that and it's going to become active. Any change that you make in the console and you publish the change to be live, going to take approximately 10 to 20 seconds. So almost everything is instant. Same goes for the logs. The logs are being delivered within 20, 30 seconds and you can see all the details of the log. I don't want to go into a lot of details for the configuration because we have a lot of different settings, profiles. The profile is going to be a combination of different signatures, WAF policies, ACL policies, and then you're going to create the profile that's going to be a combination of all of them. And you can assign the profile to a specific path. So we can create very customizable solutions and customizable profiles that will be specific for the type of traffic. A good example is going to be the website, for example, the login page versus the API section. So it all depends, of course, on what type of solution you offer to your customers, but we can create different profiles for APIs. For example, APIs should not be challenged with the JavaScript because it's going to be automated tools. But if you have a lot of human interactions that the user is going to the actual web browser, then the web browser is going to issue the API calls. We can enable the challenge there as well. I believe that's it from my side. Right? Samantha, someone?
Okay, yeah. No, I think that's it from our side. I think there might be some questions coming in. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them on the link on the top. We can kind of get into that now.
Yeah, so I can start reading off some of the questions we've got on the link. And again, the link to submit questions is here at the top of the screen. I believe it is also in the chat, so you can find the link there. And so please, yeah, don't hesitate to ask any questions there. So the first question, I think this is probably for you, Ryan, is I thought GCP was already secure. Why would I need a third-party solution as well? So if you want to address that.
Yeah, I'll address the first part, and Dima can jump in with the technical side of it. But GCP is secure. They do, they offer their own kind of first generation firewall and things of that nature. The problem is it's not customizable, and you can't really monitor the traffic, and you can't really, customize any of the rules that come out with it. So essentially, it's just out of the box. This is generic rules. This is what we think generically will help with you, regardless of what vertical you're in, regardless of what industry, what traffic. When is your peak times? Maybe you're working 9 to 5. That's your peak times. Maybe you're an e-com site and you're working overseas. You might have peak times different times of the day, or at night, things of that nature. So we take into that all into account. So this is much more than just your typical WAF. This is a platform. So this has the ability to really show you, with the visibility, to show you the different logs, the different traffic signals that are coming in, and then we customize it with you. The biggest thing with us also is kind of our onboarding stages. So we're going to sit down with you. We're going to understand the traffic. We'll leave it in monitor mode, as Dima kind of mentioned, for a week, 2 weeks. We'll kind of create some very customized reports. We'll start to understand your traffic. Then you'll get a tech assigned to you, and he'll actually sit down and start onboarding, different websites and different APIs that you have in mind, and then we can customize them. So again, your loading page or your sign-in page may be different than your online page, your e-com page, things like that. So they're going to have different profiles. They're going to have different security traits, and we're going to customize them that way. So that's really the biggest thing. I think with Reblaze, you're getting that, security, you're getting that sense of reliability that you're having someone watching the logs and letting you know. There are different types of, and actually I see the second question, so I'll end that one, and then I'll answer a little bit on the second question that comes up. So go ahead, Simon.
No, absolutely. I was going to I was going to move on to that one as well. So the second question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages, or advantages or disadvantages between the managed and non-managed versions of Reblaze?
Yeah, so, and that's a great question. With each and every instance, you're going to get some type of support with Reblaze, whether it be standard, you're going to get the onboarding. We're going to kind of give you, obviously, a much higher in-depth version of what Dima did, and kind of show you the logs, let you understand how you can utilize them, how you can create rules, things of that nature. Where it differs then, with the managed version, we're going to go through and we're going to be monitoring, setting up alerts. Our 24/7 SOC team is going to be sitting and letting you know if we have any malicious traffic or any time, any of these kind of alerts come up. So if, all of a sudden we're seeing a bunch of traffic coming in on a Friday night at midnight from, a country across the seas or something like that, we'll let you know. We have alerts doing that. So you can also set those alerts up yourself, but with the 24/7 SOC team, we'll be able to mitigate them, within the instant. Some of the other things are creating these, these single tenant environment and creating these unique profiles so that your mobile app doesn't look the same as your e-com site or things of that nature. Your sign-in sheet looks different than that as well. So, being able to really get in there and customize it is some of the other things that you'll have, and you'll have a 24/7 technician. You can reach out to them through Slack, through anything that works for you guys. We integrate with all those different platforms, but really just creating that relationship, letting them understand your environment, and then having someone looking over your shoulder and always monitoring that traffic.
Awesome. And it looks like we do have another one as well that says, what Reblaze, probably where is Reblaze better than competitors? It's important to know to argue with customers who already use F5 in Perva and other solutions.
Yeah, so I'll get in a little bit of this and then I'll let Dima jump in after, because he has been in this industry like 20 years, so he knows all the different. But Reblaze is 100% cloud-based. So, we utilize the GCP, AWS, Azure, DigitalOcean. We utilize those cloud infrastructures. So we're able to keep it lean and agile. We're able to customize very quickly, as you saw with the different, report only to actually active mode was very unique. So being born on the cloud, there are a bunch of different unique capabilities that we have. The other thing is, we're really looking towards your different unique APIs and applications. So in each and every one, you can have a personal profile that's unique and different that way. And the other thing, the biggest thing that I'd like to highlight is the single tenant environment. You're not sharing that environment with any other companies. Say you're in a multi-tenant environment and you have another company that's getting DDoS attacked or getting hit with bots and things of that nature, and it may then spill over to you, and then all of a sudden your site's down or something like that. With us, each and every one gets its own single tenant environment, and it's very unique, and it's very customized to your security profile. So Dima, maybe you can highlight on F5 and Perva though.
Yeah, sure. Ryan, for sure, as you mentioned, the single tenant environment is one of the key components. It's a huge advantage. I can never speak bad about competitors because each company is going to have advantages and disadvantages that we, of course, can discuss in public forum, and we cannot. As far as also pricing, when it comes to actual commercial side, we're going to be much more affordable than any of those solutions. The abilities to create customizable profiles we didn't go into it in details, but the ability to create so many customizable profiles that are going to include different signatures, exclusions, inclusions. I didn't have a chance to show you the custom signatures, but we can create the custom signatures based on different cookies, based on different headers, based on different arguments, and etc. So we can lock it down. We don't have to open it based on a path to everyone. We can lock it down for specific requests for a specific path. It's one of the advantages as well. The complexity of setting it up and the onboarding. On average, we say that it's going to take up to 10 days to onboard the customer. And when we say 10 days, it means it's going to be in active mode. However, we had several customers that were under attack, and we were able to onboard them within 6 hours, if not less, in active mode to block those attacks and reduce the bots that were actually attacking their like brute force attack for their account login, for example. We're able to mitigate it within minutes as soon as we configure them in our system. So how customizable it is and how fast we can react to everything, the visibility, also another advantage. I know that all the providers give you logs and etc. But from my experience, it was not that convenient to look. I'm sure they have made some improvements within the years, but the last time I looked at some of the solutions, it was not the most convenient way to look at the logs, navigate through the logs as well, and how fast it can be delivered. I hope it addresses the question.
Yeah, thanks, Dima. And I like to highlight two other things mainly. Reblaze is also a platform, so you get a variety of different products, and you get it all for one price. So you get the WAF, you get bot mitigation, you get DDoS, you get the dashboard, and these are not add-ons. These are all together. We base pricing usually off requests per second in the number of applications you have. But with that, and you can choose to turn things on and off. We have very large customers. They have different. Let's be honest, they have different vendors or different server providers that are doing different things. So they're really only interested in maybe one part of maybe the bot mitigation or the WAF. So they may turn those off, but you get all of them included. So, you get the choice to do that. And we find that when we include all of those things together, it really does create this very unique platform that allows you that visibility and really lets you, customize that security profile. And then the second thing is the marketplace deployment. This is a different deployment that we're kind of rolling out within the last year. It's somewhat new, but it is. There are pros and cons for that deployment. But for instance, a lot of the financial companies that we're dealing with, they prefer to kind of use some of those in the marketplace deployment because the traffic never leaves their current environment. It never leaves, what they've already established. So we're actually integrated into that. So that's a huge advantage. And again, if you have different use cases, some of them work better for the SaaS model, some of them work better for the marketplace model. But the ability to choose and kind of take away from that is a huge thing that a lot of our competitors don't offer.
Awesome. So I believe that is it for the questions that we have. And so with that, we can wrap up. I certainly want to thank Dima and Ryan for taking your time to present. And I want to remind everyone on the call here that we will be sending a copy of this recording out to all of you. And, again, if any questions come up after the fact or once you take another look at this, please don't hesitate. Go ahead, reply back to that email. Let us know what questions you have, and we will be happy to address them. So with that, thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.